A rebuild of the spillway at Beaver Lake may be happening after all. More on what the Jasper Utility Service Board decided. Plus, Carrie Schneider has this week's visit with our friends at the Du Bois County Humane Society, and Chester Bear and Kelly Wiseman discuss the upcoming Bird's Eye Picnic tonight on Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. We begin with the Jasper Utility Service Board's decision to kick in some money for reconstructing the spillway at Beaver Lake. Last night, the board approved contributing $50,000 in support of reconstructing the spillway in order to raise the water level. The goal is to raise the water level of Beaver Lake some 11 inches from where it is now, following many complaints from lot owners about the lake being too low. In addition, the USB approved a loan of $180,000 with a 5% contingency to the city water utility to help fill the remaining funding gap. Those funds will come from the city's electric department. Other funding will come from the Jasper Parks Department through increases in boat and dock fees at Beaver Lake. If all goes through, Crimp Construction of Jasper will do the work at a total cost of $334,000. The city will spend an additional up to $37,000 to have Christopher B. Burke Engineering supervise the work. Now, Jasper Utilities had originally proposed $20,000 of support, but upped their offer to $35,000 early last week and then again to $50,000 after more discussions about the city's recent 17% water rate increase. Jasper Electric Commissioner Wayne Sheeter reminded the board that 2% of that rate increase was set aside for potential modifications to the spillway and dam at Beaver Lake. Sheeter stated that 1 year's worth of that 2% would be an acceptable contribution from the utilities, thus the $50,000 figure. Sheeter says it all makes sense given demands for backup water area-wide in the long run.
I do think that there are more and more demands going to be put on the water from Pawtucket. There are more entities outside the immediate counties on the lake that are asking for water, and so I think in the future the policies about letting water come downstream to supply Jasper and Huntingburg might change, and I just think for the cost now it'll be a good investment in the future. First, for insurance for having enough water if we have a declared water emergency.
Now, Jasper officials say the $50,000 comes out to an increase of $6 to $7 a year for each city ratepayer. Meanwhile, Brad Pope with the Friends of Beaver Lake group once again spoke to the board to push for the $50,000 of funding. Pope says he's satisfied with getting the financial support. He says with that in mind, it's now time to get this project done.
We recognized that there was a discrepancy, but we didn't realize how much. So we could talk all day on that and never, the finger pointing's over. We've come to the conclusion of that, but now it's time to just keep moving forward with the pledges, and we just ask people in the community to give to a good cause and people working together.
Pope says he's hopeful of getting even more support from the Jasper City Council tomorrow evening, possibly somewhere around $100,000. Pope told the board that Friends of Beaver Lake currently has $125,000 raised. He says it is very likely that the group will reach $140,000 in contributions once all is said and done. Of course, all approvals are based on several conditions, including the city receiving the donations from the Friends of Beaver Lake group, loan approvals, and the approval of both the Jasper Park Board and the Jasper City Council. The council will meet Wednesday night at 7 o'clock at Jasper City Hall. The Jasper Park Board has a special meeting coming up Friday morning at Jasper City Hall. A barn fire just east of St. Anthony sent fire crews into action early this morning. Members of the St. Anthony Fire Department were called to the fire that was reported just before 6:40 a.m. in a hay barn at the Stephen and Starla Rothgerber home in the 5700 block of County Road 600 East near Kiana. The barn was fully engulfed in flames once firefighters arrived. The structure, along with some equipment inside, was a total loss, while a second barn nearby escaped major damage. Authorities say the cause is believed to be spontaneous combustion. No injuries were reported. The St. Anthony Fire Department responded with 4 trucks and 25 men. Meanwhile, the Schnellville and Ferdinand Fire Departments sent tanker trucks and a combined total of about 10 men. Fire crews remained on scene through the morning and into the early afternoon hours today, putting out hot spots. Indiana State Police have now made an arrest in a case involving an asphalt crew that has been scamming residents all across southwestern Indiana, including a scam here in Du Bois County. ISP says last Friday, a man who worked for Oaks Construction approached an elderly woman at her home over in New Harmony in Posey County and told her that the crew could pave her driveway for a good price using asphalt that was left over from a recent job in Mount Vernon. State police say the woman agreed to the paving after she was reportedly quoted a price somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000. Now, as work neared its completion, another employee knocked on her door and demanded $6,000 for the job, or several times more than what she agreed to. She wrote the check and contacted her son after the crew left the residence. Her son then contacted state police. Troopers soon stopped the paving crew along I-64 near the Evansville State Police Post. One of the employees, 34-year-old Michael Coop of Clinton, was found to have an outstanding warrant out of Crawford County, Illinois, for failure to appear on home improvement fraud charges. Coop was taken into custody and booked into the Posey County Jail, where he is being held on bond. Fortunately, state police say the elderly woman was able to cancel her check before the company cashed it. Of course, DuBois County residents dealt with a similar scam back in late July. The DuBois County Sheriff's Department says pavers were going door to door offering to pave driveways with asphalt that was left over from other jobs. DCSD says those pavers did the work, but later charged a much higher price than the homeowner originally agreed to. In one such case, the homeowner agreed to have the company pave their driveway for $4,500. The company came back and charged $9,000, or twice the original figure. This investigation continues, and anyone with information is asked to call the Evansville State Police Post at 1-800-852-3970. Locally, you can call the Jasper Post at 812-482-1441 if you've been a paving scam victim. And finally tonight, Indiana's 2016 gubernatorial race is down to one candidate on the Democratic ticket, at least for the time being. State Senator Karen Tallien has ended her campaign for governor, leaving John Gregg as the only Democrat in the race. The Portage lawmaker says that she had no choice but to drop out after Gregg was endorsed yesterday by the AFL-CIO, a labor union coalition. Tallien's decision, of course, makes Gregg, a former Indiana House Speaker, the likely 2016 Democratic nominee for governor, and creates a probable rematch of the 2012 election, in which current Governor Mike Pence beat Gregg by just 3 percentage points. Tallien says without volunteer and monetary support from organized labor, she had little chance of successfully competing against Gregg. The United Steelworkers also endorsed Gregg Saturday. Glenda Ritz ended her gubernatorial campaign back on August 7th to focus on a run for a second term as Indiana's schools chief. All right, coming up after the break, Carrie is next with our friends at the DuBois County Humane Society, and later, Bill Potter is back for tonight's edition of Inform with Chester Bayer and Kelly Wiseman. We're back after this.